Hey guys, and welcome to my channel Peace in the Promise. If you've not been here before, you are most welcome. Be sure to check out my blog, my Instagram and my Facebook. They're all in the link in the description box. But today I wanted to jump on and talk about my birth story. So if you don't know, a couple of months ago I had my second baby, so my baby girl, Amaya Grace. So I just wanted to share her birth story because I think it's an encouragement. It was an encouragement to me and I lived it, so I want to share it just so I can encourage and inspire someone else. So on Tuesday, it was like, it would have been the 21st of April. I went into labor at 1 a.m. So I was sleeping and then I remember, I think I just woke up feeling those familiar, more to moderate to intense like period pain, like it's more intense period cramps. Like, so I recognized these as being the contractions because I felt the same ones with my son Moses. If you haven't read his birth story, it's up on my blog, so I'll put the link in the description box as well so you can read that one. But yeah, so I woke up and I was like, oh, okay, yeah, these are the contractions. So I woke my husband up. I was like, hey, I think I'm having contractions. He was like, oh cool, and he went back to sleep. And then I was timing them. I've got like the baby center app, so you can time them, like you just press when they're starting and press when they stop and they time them for you. Because with my son, that's what really helped me be on, like, you know, keep on track of them. So yes, I was like having the contractions from 1 a.m. I remember I couldn't go back to sleep until about 5. I was too excited. The contractions were also keeping me awake and I was messaging my family and friends. I messaged my sister-in-law because we'd organized for her to come and take care of our toddler Moses whilst we go to the hospital. And then I also messaged my family and all of that too, telling them that the contractions had started, but we were just chilling at home. They were noticeable, very noticeable. I would say I was in a little bit of pain, but I could still lie in bed. I got up, took a Panadol, went to try and lay down in bed. I think I was still uncomfortable, still feeling a bit ill. So then Steve I kept trying to find a ringtone to put my name on his phone so that whenever I rang him, I had a particular ringtone. And then he started playing this random Ugandan song. It's in Luganda. And it was just like, I don't know, something about it just kept me at peace. So I was like, what song's that? Can you keep playing it? So I played that song on repeat from like maybe 2 until we fell asleep, which I fell asleep maybe about 6 o'clock that morning. So my sister-in-law came that day and I think one of my sisters came, but I don't even remember. And then we just chilled the whole day. She came to help out with Moses, but I think during the day the contractions slowed down a bit and I was like, oh, I don't know if this is going to be like my son, because I remember with him, my contractions started and it's kind of slowed down and then started and then slowed down. So anyway, I just took it easy and I was like, well, might as well make the most of the help that's here. So it was good. I was able to distract myself with the help that was around with my sister-in-law, with my son. Whereas I know with my previous experience, I was quite overwhelmed with the whole, you know, thing of labor because I'd never been through it before. So I remember I had to separate myself a lot and I felt so overwhelmed by it. To the point where I was like, oh, I don't want to have so many people. I just want to kind of focus and zone in. But this time, I think because I've been through it before, I was a lot more relaxed. So I was like, cool, contractions are here. My sister would just be talking to me. We'd just be talking. I'd have contractions. I'd be playing with my son. I'd have contractions. I'd be doing laundry. I'm having contractions. I was just like, cool, this is what it's like. Really? Contractions have started. Well, they started like at 2 a.m. this morning, and it's like, I think it's like 6:30 p.m. now. So started off really frequent and pretty strong, but then throughout the day they kind of tapered off, but now they're stronger again. Just waiting for them to be more consistent and stuff. But I've been hanging out with this guy and my sisters, just trying to keep moving so that they don't slow down. Had a shower, but that did not seem to speed them up this time. But we'll see how we go. Yay! But yeah, it was really good in that way. And then I remember sometime in the evening, Tuesday evening, maybe like around 6, I was like, oh, okay, these contractions are getting stronger. And I just wanted to find a way to manage them without just having to stop and tense, you know, because I was in that moment, it was kind of like I could bear with them by just stopping and breathing, but at this point stopping and breathing wasn't really doing the trick. So I remembered the song that Steve had been playing in that morning, so then I put the song back on and I literally danced around the house, like whenever I was having contractions. I put this song on and I'd just be moving and dancing and rocking my body left to right, and I'd start singing and I'm like, yeah, I've got this, I've got this. It was really, really, really a cool experience, you know. I was still feeling them, but it gave me something to focus on and channel my energy into rather than focusing on, oh, this hurts. It was like, no, I've got this song, I'm dancing to it, I've got this, I've got this, I've got this. So anyway, we go to bed at about 10 o'clock. Well, everyone else goes to bed. As soon as I lay down, my contractions like go from like 0 to 100. I was like, oh, nope. Everyone's got to sleep. My husband and my son, we're all sleeping in the same bed. My sister-in-law's at the back of the house in the spare bedroom. And I get up, I'm like, no. I tried to, well, at first I tried to tolerate it when I was laying down, but I could not. I was like, no way. Got up, I was walking around the house, walking around our room, and I was like, oh my God. You know when you don't know where to grab? I'm like, what do I do? Do I lean over? Do I stand up straight? Do I squat? What do I do? Nothing is helping right now. And then I'm trying to labor quietly because I'm like, my son's asleep. And then I'm there in I go into the bathroom and I'm like, I'm laboring in the bathroom. I was going around in circles. Maybe I was doing that for about, 2 hours, laboring in that way. So maybe until about midnight or just before midnight. And I was like, there's no, because I also knew I didn't want to go too early to the hospital. So the reason I labored around like that for a while is because I knew, I was like, okay, yeah, I'm feeling them, this is really strong, but I don't want to go to the hospital. And then they told me I'm 4 centimeters, because I'd actually called the hospital that evening. And then they, I was so chirpy, it was so funny. I was like, hi, I'm just having contractions, so I just want to know when I should come in. I knew they were going to tell me to go home, and sure enough, the lady's like, yeah, not tell me to go home. I knew they were going to tell me that my contractions, they need to build up a bit before I come in. But the lady was like, yeah, maybe just ring us back when they're really excruciatingly painful, because I was so chirpy on the phone. I was like, okay. Anyway, but this time I was like, okay, I want to pretty much leave home the latest that I can leave before needing to push, if that makes sense. Because I didn't want to be sitting around the hospital laboring. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, I was there pushing it. I was like, no, go as far as you can here at home, and until you start to feel maybe like you're not sure if you need to push or not, then go. Because I knew that second babies usually come quicker than first babies, so I was like, I don't really want to go birth at home, thank you very much. So anyway, as soon as I started to feel like I could kind of feel a little bit more pressure than before, so I was like, nope, I'm not risking this. I was like, Steve. Then he's like, oh, like, we need to go to the hospital. But imagine this, in all this time, I didn't cry. Like, I was just like, and then, yeah, I was like, let's go to the hospital. So then he got his stuff ready, and then it felt like he took a million years to get his stuff ready. And I was there laboring, walking around the games room, like, so we got my sister-in-law to come into our room to, be with our son, and then we left for the hospital. I got a whopper of a contraction, like 3 minutes to the hospital, and I was like, because Steve was turning a corner so fast, so I was like, stop, go slowly. And then we get to the hospital, and then I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know how many centimeters I would be, but the nurse there, she was super cool. I loved her vibe. She reminded me of one of my sisters. She was like sarcastic and like just witty. But she measured me and she's like, how many centimeters did you want to be? I was like, 4 or 5. She's like, you're 6 centimeters. I was so excited. I was like, yes, if I can labor to 6 centimeters at home, I'm Gucci, I'm good, like, we've got this. I looked at Steve, we were like, it was so exciting. We were so happy. So then they moved me to the the birthing suite. And then I was like, I just don't really know what to do with myself. Should I have a shower? Should I sit down? I don't know what to do. But then we kind of just started laboring there, like just standing. I was walking around the room and I was like, this, you know, okay, they're really getting intense, and I just wanted to find a way to deal with them that wasn't just me saying, ow, this hurts. So my husband had to keep his hands around my waist like this and just massage my back like this. And so moving around the room and walking around the room, I did not sit down that night. We did not sit down. We were up the whole night, walking around the room, he's massaging my back. And they were getting so intense, and I was like, no, I need something else. And then I remembered the song. So then we put the song on and we literally danced around that labor room for hours. Like every time I got a contraction, like he would just have to stand there like this, and every time I could feel a contraction building, I was like, go, 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 go. So then he'd start massaging my back, and then we're there moving around the room, like dancing. I'm like rocking, swinging, walking, like going around in circles, semicircles, going around a bit, around a bit, around a bit, around here, around there, around there. And literally that's how I coped with my contractions, and it was so good. It just gave me something to focus on, and I just never thought that I would be able to, you know, deal with contractions in that way, because I assumed as soon as I got in, my plan was, I'm like, I'm gonna get in, get me that epidural and relax. But I was like, something in me told me like, no, you can endure this, just see how far you can go. So yeah, we were dancing, the midwives would come in and have their handover, and I remember them just like looking, like they would just sit there and watch, and then they'd be like, yeah, so this is how she's decided to manage her contractions. She's dancing, she's listening to music, and I'm just there like, come on, you've got this, come on, Ruben, you've got this. I was my own hype woman, guys. I was like, yeah, I've got this, I can do this. And then as they progressed, I remember he would just have to keep massaging my back, and every time he fell asleep standing up massaging my back. I was like, get up, massage my back, please. Anyway, so as they began to intensify, I remember I just kept saying, I was like, far out, this hurts, far out, this hurts. And then I kept saying, thank you, Jesus. Okay, help me, Jesus, come on, God, help me, Jesus. I've got this, for hours and hours and hours. I was just doing the same thing. When I was reaching a point where I was kind of like, oh, okay, I'm feeling like I don't know how much more I can handle this. They measured me, and then the nurse was like, you are 9 centimeters. I was like, what? I blew myself away. I was like, God, are you serious? Me, who was like crying and whacking the rail with my son at like 6 centimeters, I've danced my way to 9 centimeters. Are you kidding me? And this is still a long labor, mind you. Like it wasn't as long as my daughter, but it was, I mean, as my son, but this was still a pretty long labor. Anyway, so I was so proud of myself. I was like, if I can get to 9 centimeters, heck yeah, I can push this baby out with nothing. And I had no pain relief, no gas, no nothing up until this point. So I just got off the bed. I was like, you know what? Let's just smash it out. Let's just give it a go. But my waters still hadn't broken yet. With both kids, my waters never broke naturally. They just didn't want to. So I was still waiting for my waters to break, and then the midwife came back in and she's like, do you want us to break your waters? If you like, we can break your waters so that maybe the baby's head will then come right down, and then you'll be ready to push like within half an hour. I was like, sweet, let's do it. I think after I labored for another half hour, I was like, yeah, let's do that, because I don't want to be doing this for like hours and hours. So then she broke my waters, and then the contractions became really, really, really intense. Like I remember they had to put a drip in my arm, and I'm there like trying to dance around. They're putting a drip in my arm, and I'm still there on my feet. I'm obviously exhausted because we've been dancing around this whole time. The music is still playing. I'm still panting. I'm still telling my husband, massage my back, go higher, go lower, go to the left, go to the right. But then I think at some point I was just like, no, I can't do this anymore. And I was like, come on, I want an epidural. And then my midwives were so good. They really encouraged me. She was like, she's like, how about we just see how many centimeters you are, and you could be ready to push now. You never know. So I was like, okay, let's just see. So she measured me, and she was like, I was like, oh no. You know when your heart sinks because you know that something is like not right. She's like, you kind of have gone to like a 7 centimeters. I was like, but that was internally. I was like, oh no. She's like, yeah, so I think what's happened was pretty much the membrane of the waters had like kind of helped to open up my cervix to be 9 centimeters. So when she popped the membrane, it was like baby's head was here, and then it kind of went back So it made my cervix back to 7 centimeters. And I was like, at this point, I was just like, just give me the epidural. I'm like, give me the epidural right now. Give it to me. Give me the epidural. It's good. It's okay. I've endured. I've tasted and seen that labor is painful. So I'm gonna get the epidural right now. Thank you very much. So then I remember my midwife, I think she felt really bad, but I was like, no, I'm like, it's not your fault. It's not your fault. We didn't know it was gonna happen. So I'm like, it's all good. Like, let's just get the epidural. And it just felt like, you know, that time when you really need to pee. Let's say you're just outside your house and you're busting, and it's always when you get to the door to unlock the door, that's when you're absolutely busting. That's when you're ready to burst. So that was me. When I decided to get the epidural, I was right at the door and I was like, now I can't take it anymore. I need this epidural. I am in so much pain. Oh, I think my son's woken up. Hey buddy, come. Okay, so before all this, when I'm still walking around and laboring in the room with my husband massaging my back, I remember we heard other ladies giving birth. I remember hearing another lady who was like, oh, I can't do this, I can't do this. And I remember we started praying for her. I was like, God, I pray, give her a supernatural strength, give her comfort, give her peace, protect her, protect the baby, blah, blah, blah. I was praying, we were praying. And then I think an hour later, then we heard her like give birth to her baby. And we were both like, it was so emotional. Like it was as if we'd given birth to ours. We looked at each other and we were like, oh my gosh, we're like, thank you, God, thank you, Jesus, for giving her strength. And then we continued to labor on the ward, right? So then, yeah, anyway, at this point, I'm ready to get the epidural. I got the epidural in, and then within 15 minutes again, it was all good. So this epidural was good in that I could still somewhat feel. My epidural with Moses, I couldn't feel squat, so I didn't even know when to push. But with this one, I could still feel when I was contracting, and I could still, like, especially when it came to the pushing stage, I could still feel, which is really, really helpful. So then I remember it was about maybe 9 o'clock, and then my midwives were like, oh, you know, maybe we'll give it another hour. So we stopped pressing the top up for the epidural, and just so you can feel, and then we're gonna start pushing. So I was like, okay, cool. Then a senior midwife comes in like, I don't know, 30 seconds later, and they're like, yeah, we're gonna wait for an hour for her to push. And the midwife was like, no, she's ready to push now, just push. I was like, I was not ready at all. I was like, okay, but I was like, it's fine, it's cool. Like I was just mentally prepared to push in like an hour, but that's fine. So literally I started pushing at maybe like 9:18 a.m. and baby girl was out at 9:21 a.m. So it took about 2-3 minutes and she was out. Like they were like, let's do a practice push and just see how things are going. So with that practice push, they already saw her head. So that's one push, and then her head was already showing. Then second push, she was crowning. So like literally crowning. And then I remember with that, like I couldn't even control, like she was literally already like coming out. Like I didn't even have to push and she was coming out. And then third push, she was out. So I was like, this is insane. Like Moses was already, it was already quick. Like it took about 17 minutes. And for a first time mum, that's pretty fast. Like some people are pushing for hours. And there were no instruments, no help, no assistance. It was just me grunting and pushing. So this time it was insane. I was like 3 minutes and she's out, and 3 pushes and she's out. That's insane. Everyone was shocked. Everyone was like, what? That's amazing. Like, oh my gosh. I don't know if they were just gassing me up, but if they were, I felt good. So but it was so amazing. I remember just after she was born, I just looked at Steve and I was like, what? Like, we looked at each other like, it was that straightforward? It was that easy? Like, what the heck? We are beasts. Like, we've got this. But it was seriously, it was just God throughout it all. He gave me the strength. I did not even think that I would do it that far, that I would manage that far without any pain relief. So to the point, the fact that I got to 9 centimeters, even if it was because my membrane was opened up, my cervix was opened up by the membrane, that was a miracle within itself for me. But yeah, so then baby girl was born. She was healthy. I think she was about 3.2 kilos. I don't remember how many grams, but it was just underneath Moses. She was healthy, she was fine, she was well. Afterwards, I crashed. I had that initial adrenaline rush, but then I crashed. Like I remember I started to pass out, like feeding her. But the midwives were there, so they were like, it's okay, like we're here, we're watching you. I tried to eat a sandwich and I vomited. I vomited twice. I actually vomited in labor and I vomited after labor, which never happened with Moses, so it was so random to me. But oh, nausea is horrible, so I hated that aspect. But yeah, afterwards I was up within like an hour or so, showered myself. My husband was there like supervising, but I did it myself even after having the epidural. Like with Moses, I was too scared to even stand, but this time I, like, you know, with a little bit of help, I was all right. Showered, then I was moved to the ward with baby girl, and my husband could only stay for an hour because she was born during the peak of COVID, so they changed up the restrictions. But yeah, so it's just me and baby girl. I had semi-forgotten how to feed, like, you know, I was like, when do I feed her? How often do I feed her? I had completely forgotten. So if you are feeling like you're freaking out, like, oh, I don't know how I'm gonna deal with a newborn, don't worry. Like, even people who have had kids before, you forget sometimes. But I knew there was a newfound confidence in me because I knew I'd done it before, so I knew I was all right. So I was ready to go home that same day. I was like, send me home. I want to go home. But I think we had to stay in because I think when they broke the waters, there was a bit of meconium, but it wasn't because she pooed when we were in labor, but apparently it was like when I was already still pregnant, there was a little bit of meconium from there. So they said it was old, but they just wanted to monitor her a little bit. But yeah, she was with me the whole time. We were all good. I was cold that whole night. I was like, I just want to go home. So I really pushed to go home. And the next morning, I think about 11 a.m, they sent me home after they did all the checks. Everything was good. So I went home. Then we were reunited with this guy and my sisters, and it was so sweet, the reunion between the two of them.
So it's recording now? Okay. What's it?
Oh my gosh! I'm excited.
Baby. Baby.
Yeah.
Baby.
Bye.
She's small.
Hi.
Hi.
Oh.
Hi. Hi. You say hi.
Let me be.
Oh, he wants to get it.
Hey.
So precious.
He's actually got like a sad face, but like.
You, let go of the hand. Bass.
Moses, can you imagine you once
Oh.
this small? Wow.
Anyone else should give you?
I know.
This is your baby sister.
Hi.
Baby.
You finally get to see her.
Oh, he really does like.
Yeah. This is the best reaction.
I don't know who has done poo, but one of them has done
It's okay. Mine's okay.
poo. He wants to
Give me the baby. That's the most beautiful thing I've ever seen.
Yes. Aww.
Moses is so nurturing. He was so loving. So naturally, like, he would always hold my belly when I was pregnant and say, baby, baby. But so when she came, he just knew, and it was so sweet. And he really loves her now too. He's so obsessed. He's always wanting to sit with her and lay on her, and you just have to remind him of how big he is. He doesn't squish her, but he's really just a loving brother. And she is so gorgeous. She's beautiful. She's sleeping in her own cot. She's so independent, and I don't know if it's because now we've gone through it before, so we kind of know what to do, or just also because they're two different kids. So every kid's different, as they say. But that's my birth story, and I just pray it's an encouragement to you. If you are yet to give birth, first time mum or whatever, don't freak out. You can do it. You can endure far more than you think you can. Like me, I was like, not even scaredy cat. I was like, I just don't want to deal with that. Like, I'm just getting my epidural and getting done with it. But me, I was able to endure until I was 9 centimeters. And I was able to cope with the changes and the transitions that I wasn't expecting. So when they said, oh, you're back to 7.5 centimeters, I didn't freak out, and that was God. Like, so whatever comes your way, whether you have to get an emergency C-section, whether you have to get, you know, emergency things for anything, or things don't go as expected, it's okay. You adjust, you make do, and as long as you and baby are safe at the end of the day, that's all that matters. So I pray it's an encouragement to you, and I pray that you have a beautiful rest of your day. Be sure to like this video and subscribe to my channel if you want to watch more encouraging videos. I really want to do more like motherhood and lifestyle type videos, so expect a lot more of those coming up. But yeah, until next time, until the next video, enjoy the rest of your day, and we'll see you in the next video. Peace.